Have you ever had that nagging voice in your head while walking down Broadway or sitting in a West Village coffee shop asking, how is everyone else doing this? You see 20-somethings in designer sneakers and young families pushing $2,000 strollers. In a city where the average one-bedroom is pushing $5,000, the math simply doesn't add up. It feels like a secret club you weren't invited to, or a financial cheat code everyone else has cracked. After years in global finance looking at the raw, unpolished data of people's lives, I can tell you the truth. Most of what you're seeing is a carefully constructed optical illusion. Welcome to Financial Survival NY. I'm Nicole. I've spent my career navigating wealth management and institutional finance, and now that I call New York home, I'm obsessed with a phenomenon I call the high-income mirage. In this video, we're doing something New Yorkers hate. We're looking behind the curtain. We'll explore why your friends, neighbors, and that influencer you follow look significantly richer than they actually are. More importantly, I'm going to show you why chasing that look is the fastest way to ensure you never actually become wealthy. If you've ever felt behind because you aren't living the main character lifestyle on your feed, this is for you. By the end of this 20-minute deep dive, you'll be immune to the trick. We're breaking down the debt iceberg, the social signaling arms race, and the specific blueprint you need for stealth wealth. The goal isn't to look like a millionaire on a Tuesday night in Manhattan. The goal is the financial freedom to never have to look like anything to anyone. Let's get started. To understand why people look richer than they are, we have to talk about a concept I call front-loading. In the traditional world of finance, wealth is an iterative process. You provide value, earn an income, save a portion, and invest it until it grows into a wealth engine, a self-sustaining pile of capital that eventually pays for your lifestyle. The luxury car and designer clothes are supposed to be the output of a mature wealth engine. But in the modern world, and especially in the high-pressure environment of New York, people have figured out how to hack the timeline. They front-load the results by buying the output before they've even built the engine. Think about how we perceive success. If you see someone driving a Porsche 911 through the meatpacking district, your brain automatically fills in the blanks. You assume they are a successful founder or a high-earning trader. You associate the object with the achievement. However, in 2026, the link between owning a luxury object and actually having the money to pay for it has been almost entirely severed. We live in an era where you can lease your entire identity. You can lease the car, rent the gown for a gala, and use lifestyle loans to fund vacations. This creates a wealth trap. Because you are spending your highest leverage years, your 20s and 30s, paying off interest on things you've already consumed, you never have the surplus capital to start your wealth engine. You're effectively trading your future freedom for a present-day costume. I've met countless professionals in this city making $400,000 a year who are living paycheck to paycheck. They aren't poor, but they are fragile. Every dollar that comes in is already spoken for by the ghost of their past spending. They have to keep running at 100 miles per hour just to stay in the same place. The Joneses are no longer just your neighbors. They are the curated, filtered versions of everyone you see on social media. When you front-load, you are buying a seat at a table you haven't earned yet, and the rent is always due. True financial survival in NYC starts with the radical act of refusing to front-load. It means being willing to look average while you are secretly becoming elite. Remember, a $100,000 car with a $2,000 monthly payment isn't an asset. It's an anchor. If your income goes up 20%, but your lifestyle stays the same, you've just bought yourself a massive piece of your future freedom. But if your lifestyle scales at the same rate as your paycheck, you're just a more expensive version of the same person you were last year. However, if front-loading is the philosophy of looking rich, debt is the mechanics that make it possible. But in 2026, debt doesn't look like it used to. It has been rebranded and integrated so seamlessly into our daily lives that we often don't realize we're using it. I call this the debt iceberg. You only see the tip, the 5-star hotels and designer bags above the surface, but you don't see the massive weight of liability lurking beneath the waterline. Modern consumers have stopped asking, how much does this cost? And started asking, how much is it per month? This is the payment trap. If your monthly obligations, rent, car payments, and Klarna installments eat up nearly all your take-home pay, you aren't living well. You're walking a tightrope over a canyon with no safety net. We've seen a massive explosion in buy now, pay later, BNPL services. It started with electronics and furniture, but now, in NYC, you can finance a dinner, an Uber ride, or even a pair of jeans. This creates a psychological decoupling effect. When you break a $400 purchase into four $100 payments, your brain perceives it as a $100 expense, making you feel $300 richer than you actually are. Multiply that by 20 services, and your income is siphoned away by 1,000 tiny straws. Then there's the NYC Lease Culture. In this city, the car you drive is rarely a reflection of your net worth. It's a reflection of your monthly cash flow. Since you can't bring your apartment to a party, people pay $1,200 a month to lease a luxury SUV while living in a tiny studio in outer Queens. Why? Because the SUV is a portable status symbol. They can't bring their apartment to the party, but they can arrive in the car. But here is what the math tells us that the Instagram photos don't. High-interest consumer debt is a wealth killer. If you carry a credit card balance at 24% interest, you are net negative even if you're a genius investor making 10% elsewhere. Your rich friends are often just pass-through entities for the banks. Money goes from their employer to their bank account and immediately out to creditors. The 2026 credit trap is designed to keep you in perpetual motion. As long as you can make the minimums, the system tells you that you're doing fine. But doing fine isn't the goal. The goal is to own your time. And you can't own your time if your future labor has already been sold to pay for the shoes you bought last year. True financial survival requires you to look at the total cost, not the monthly slice. If you can't buy it twice in cash, you can't afford it. It sounds harsh, but it is the only way to ensure your iceberg consists of assets that support you rather than liabilities trying to sink you. Why do smart, analytical people, the kind of people who can navigate a complex career in Manhattan, allow themselves to be bled dry by lifestyle creep? The answer isn't a lack of intelligence, it's a biological imperative called social signaling. For thousands of years, our survival depended on our standing within a tribe. High status meant better resources and security. Today, our brains are still wired to hunt for status, using luxury goods and exclusive zip codes as signals that we are winning. In New York City, this manifests as a status arms race. When a friend moves into a luxury doorman building, your brain perceives a shift in the hierarchy. You feel subconscious pressure to match that signal, whether through a $20 juice or a $45 fitness class, to prove you belong in that tax bracket. The problem with the status arms race is that it has no finish line. I've seen millionaires who feel poor because they are surrounded by billionaires. This is relative deprivation, comparing yourself to an impossible standard and spending 100% of what you make to keep up appearances. You are essentially transferring wealth from your own pocket to the owners of the brands you wear. I want you to try a mental exercise. Imagine moving to a city where no one knew you and luxury brands didn't exist. Would you still buy the $1,500 shoes, or would you buy back your time? Would you invest in your own education, your health, or your retirement? The people who look average in New York are often the ones actually winning because they've mastered selective signaling. They might wear a $20 t-shirt while owning rental properties and a six-figure brokerage account. They don't care about signaling to the crowd. They don't need to prove their wealth to strangers on the subway because they have built institutional trust with themselves. When you see your friends looking richer than you, remember that you are seeing their highlight reel, funded by their future stress. True status isn't about what you can buy, it's about what you can walk away from. The wealthiest person in the room isn't the one with the flashiest watch, but the one with the most options. Now that we've pulled back the curtain on the Mirage, we need to define the difference between the aesthetic of wealth and real wealth. As someone who has analyzed countless balance sheets, I can tell you, this is where the math gets real. The aesthetic of wealth is loud. It's designed to be seen. It consists almost entirely of depreciating liabilities. Things that take money out of your pocket every month. That luxury car lease? A liability. A designer wardrobe that loses 90% of its value the second you leave the store? A liability. That high-end apartment in Chelsea eating up 50% of your paycheck? A liability. Real wealth, by contrast, is usually silent. It consists of appreciating assets, things that put money into your pocket while you sleep. Real wealth is the brokerage account compounding at 8% annually, the equity in a rental property, or the side business that scales without you. In New York, there is a secret class of invisible millionaires. You see them on the L train or walking their dog in Astoria. They don't wear logos and they look average, but their net worth is 7 figures. They've reached the point where their money makes more money than their labor does. I want to break down the math of why looking rich is so expensive. Let's say you and a friend both earn $150,000. Your friend decides to live the NYC aesthetic. They spend $4,000 on rent, $1,500 on social maintenance, dinners, drinks, clothes, and $500 on a car. After taxes and basic needs, they are saving zero. You, however, decide to live below your means. You find a roommate and pay $2,000 in rent. You cook at home 4 nights a week. You save $3,000 a month and put it into a diversified index fund. After 1 year, your friend has a great Instagram feed and a lot of dry cleaning bills. You have $36,000 plus interest. After 10 years, at a 7% return, you have over $500,000. While your friend is still stressed about rent increases and looking the part, you're halfway to being able to quit your job forever. Real wealth is the ability to say no. It's the ability to walk away from a toxic boss, to take a 6-month sabbatical, or to start your own company without fearing for your survival. When you spend to look rich, you are literally selling your ability to say no to the highest bidder. I often tell my friends, you can either be rich or you can look rich. You rarely have enough money to do both at the same time, especially early in your career. The aesthetic of wealth is a prison with gold bars. Real wealth is the key that opens the door. So, when you see your friends winning the lifestyle game, remember, you aren't seeing their net worth. You're seeing their expenses. And in the world of finance, high expenses are a sign of weakness, not strength. The person with the $1,000 sneakers isn't $1,000 richer than you. They are $1,000 poorer than they were 10 minutes ago. Understanding the Mirage is one thing. Building a life immune to it is another. Living in New York is a test of financial character. If you can survive here without losing your future to the status tax, you can survive anywhere. Here is your 5-step financial survival blueprint. Step 1. The radical audit. Look at every recurring expense and ask, am I buying this for utility or for someone else's opinion? If you're paying for a premium gym just for the logo on the towel, cut it. Reclaim that territory for your freedom fund. Step 2. Building the wall. Before investing, you need a 6-month emergency fund in a high-yield account. This is psychological armor. When you have total security, the pressure to keep up with friends vanishes. Step 3. The investment first rule. Most people save what's left after spending. That is a losing strategy. Flip the script. Automate a percentage of your salary into investment accounts the moment it hits, before you pay rent, buy coffee, or go out. If you don't see it, you won't miss it. Step 4. Curating your circle. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If your inner circle lives for the next designer drop, you will eventually cave. Seek out invisible millionaires who talk about ideas and long-term goals instead of what they bought last Saturday. Step 5. Developing high-value skills. Your greatest asset is your ability to earn. Truly wealthy New Yorkers are obsessed with increasing their human capital. Instead of trying to look rich, spend your weekends becoming more valuable, whether through certifications, new languages, or side projects. Living this way requires a thick skin. It means being the friend who suggests a walk in Central Park instead of a $150 dinner. But watching your asset garden grow while your peers drown in the debt iceberg is better than any luxury purchase you will ever make. We've covered a lot today: the mirage, the debt, the psychology, and the math. But the most powerful thing you can own in this city isn't a piece of leather or a set of car keys. It's stealth wealth. Stealth wealth is the ultimate flex. It's the ability to walk into any room in New York and know you are financially bulletproof, even if no one else knows it. It is the quiet confidence that comes from knowing your lifestyle is funded by your assets, not your anxiety. Those friends who look richer than they are often living in quiet desperation, terrified of the next rent hike or economic downturn. When you choose to build real wealth instead of the aesthetic of wealth, you are choosing freedom over status. At Financial Survival NY, my goal is to help you navigate this city with your eyes wide open. Don't let the mirage distract you. Stay focused on your engine, keep liabilities low, and remember that the best things in life aren't things. If you found this breakdown helpful, hit the subscribe button and join our community. We'll be diving deep into everything from NYC real estate to institutional investing tips to help you secure your own survival. I'm Nicole. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.